Welcome to the Piston Fanatic. I'm your host, Dave Dalton, and I'm excited to share my passion and perspective of our Detroit Pistons as we go on this fantastic voyage together. I've been a diehard Piston fan since the days of Dave Bing and Bob Lanier. I've also been the varsity basketball coach of a very successful program in northern Michigan. Well, Piston fans, I just dropped an episode yesterday, but I couldn't help but to get back on today because the Rico Hines video came out late last night, and I am so excited. I got to watch our guys play, and the cool thing was Cade, Duren, Ivey, Ausar, and Stu all played on the same team together. And they're going up against not, all the great NBA players, but they're playing against Pascal Siakam's there, and a bunch of other good NBA players were there. So anyway, Rico Hines is this cool run they have out in California, and it's just like in a regular gym. It has multiple courts, like you'd see an AAU event in. And this guy, Rico Hines, gets these guys together. He's been doing it for years and years and years. And it gives these guys an opportunity during the off season to get together. And he talks to them about working hard and getting better and helping each other. And it's just a cool event that he does. And so anyway, like I said, the Piston guys, our young guys that are our future, all were on the same team. And they did not disappoint. And so I know it's easy to get excited, just like us Lions fans are excited. The Lions are picked to win the NFC North and be one of the top teams in the NFC. And the only thing is they've disappointed us how many years, how many times. But I think Lions team is better. But it still makes you look back if you're a Charlie Brown fan and how many times Lucy kept pulling the ball out from under. Charlie Brown would run up to kick the ball, and then Lucy would pull it away, and he'd still fall for it the next time. And so I hope that's not the case. I do think that we have a really good roster. We have a great offensive coordinator, the Lions do. And the cool thing is, we got Teddy Bridgewater for a backup quarterback, because that's always the thing. If Golf gets hurt, then a lot of years when we had Stafford, we had nobody that was really a capable backup. So anyway, let's dive into the Pistons. They played games to 7. And so it's 1 by 1, and so anybody can win those games. And a team that's not as good on a game that's that short can win a game. But so we start out run the first play of the game that we have pick and roll with Cade, passes to Duren, and he just hammers it. And so we're just going to see it's the same thing we saw with the select team when they played. Cade and Duren played together. I think their chemistry is going to be off the charts. I think that we're going to see so many great plays, and I'm going to tell you, we are. I think we are going to be at or near the top of the NBA in dunks. We are going to be dunking on everybody, and it's always fun to watch dunks. And even Weissman, who a lot of people don't like, but he, after like 181 games in his career, which is very limited, and he didn't even play that many minutes in games, he's had the most dunks for a person that's played that few of games. And Duren's on pace to be right up there with him. So those two guys with Ausar can dunk like crazy. Ivey can get up. Cade can dunk occasionally. And maybe if Stu gets running start, he can dunk. But anyway, so that pick and roll with Cade and Duren is going to be just unbelievable. And even just Cade having Duren down in the dunker spot, Cade just finds him. It just happened repeatedly. So then we get to see Ausar. He's out there defending. He's putting his chest right up into the dribbler, and he just can move his feet, and he is just so great, and he anticipates so well. But he got a steal. He takes to the rim, lefty layup, and finishes. It's cool to watch him. It's so exciting. We're going to get a lot of steals. Ivey can jump in the passing lane. Duren is going to be able to get steals. Cade got a steal. The next play, Cade got a steal, and then he whips it down to Stu for an assist. And I'm going to tell you, Cade had 1 million assists in this game. Cade either scored or assisted on, probably about 80 or 90% of our baskets. So, and I just see that happening during the season. So, Ivey missed a drive, but Duren jumps up and rebounds and just reverse hammers it. And really cool play. And Duren is a beast on the offensive boards, and we saw that last year. He was one of the best offensive rebounders per minute played in the entire NBA as a 18 and 19-year-old. So he looks bigger and stronger. He looks like a man-child out there. We've seen another steal from Cade, and Cade steals it and scores. And then next play, Cade comes down, step back jumper. So I want you to watch these highlights. They're on YouTube. So go to Rico Hines and YouTube of his runs, and you'll get to see these. I want you. Every Piston fan should watch these. So I'm just gonna go over the Pistons though, but they end up losing this game 7-5. They weren't quite warmed up. Again, they're short games. But the next game we come down. Cade comes down to and whips it to Duren in the corner, and Duren hits a corner three. So we saw him do that in the summer league, hit a corner three. So it's going to happen. His shot got better. His free throw got better. His form doesn't look that bad. Maybe he'll be our stretch four. I doubt it, but he's showing capabilities, and he's still 19. So that shot's going to get better. I can tell you, it looks pretty smooth. I'm just excited for this team. Overexcited, and hopefully Lucy doesn't pull the football out from underneath when I go up to kick it. So anyway, Cade drove to the rim, made a beautiful drive, and again, he wasn't hurried. He does what he does. He's just shifty. He goes one way, goes the other way, and then he just finds a way to use his body and put the ball in the basket. Then the next time, Cade comes down and the step back jumper. So here's the biggest take of all this for me, of all the plays that were made, a lot of great plays, a lot of positive signs for our Pistons, was the arc on Cade's jumper, and it looked significantly better. So that is going to make the difference, and I just am so confident that his shooting is going to be so much better with that arc and that step back jumper, and so he can get to places on the court, and we got to see it last year just before he got hurt. And they can't stop him, but he's got the ability to step back and hit that shot. So, Michael Jordan, as great as he was, the greatest thing that he had the ability was he had that fadeaway jumper, and he could really elevate, but, he could hit it at a high percentage. So a fadeaway jumper, especially when I watch a high school player play, I know if they shoot a fadeaway jumper, it's almost always short. But anyway, Cade's got a real tough fadeaway jumper that he's going to hit. Like, he was leading the NBA in mid-range jumper percentage last year. He was shooting like 58% on mid-range jumpers. So Cade hit a step-back three then after that, and it looked, again, awesome. And then next time down, Cade comes down, a lob to Duren for a dunk. So this was one of my favorite plays, though, is Ausar gets a pass from Cade, and he knocks down a three for the game winner. We won 7-4, but he knocked down the three, and it looked pretty good. So just the fact that he just took it, he was in rhythm, and he shot it. The thing about Rico Hines, though, is the guy that makes it on the seventh point. If you make the seventh point, then you got to make a free throw to confirm it. So they make you make a free throw, otherwise you don't win. Then the other team still can try to win. So, but Ausar missed the free throw, so that was too bad. But we came down. Cade throws it to Ivey. Ivey knocks down a three and wins the game for us, and Ivey makes a free throw. So we win that game 7-4. So Cade comes down to Ivey for a deep three, and Ivey hits a deep three. And his shot looked really great at last year, and his percentage on catch and shoot threes was phenomenal. We get to see Ivey cutting hard and Ausar cutting hard, and we got to see a lot of that during the game. But Duren then lobbed it to Cade, and Cade dunked it. And how many centers throw lob passes for dunks that are right on point? He threw Ausar. Duren's a great passer, and it's going to be fun to watch him and use him. And he caught the ball up at the top of the key some, and is moving the ball really well. So Cade, later on, Cade strips the ball from a guy and steals it and goes in for a layup. And Cade's defense, I think he's not the freak athlete that Duren and Ausar and Ivey are, but he can move his feet, and he is tough, and he battles, and he fights, and that's why he is Cade Cunningham. So he comes down, dribbling down the court, and they try to, he's been going around them, so they give him a little bit of space, and he knocks down a three right in their face off the dribble. So, again, the arc looked great. Ivey gets the ball and starts pushing the ball down the court, and this is what's going to be so spectacular this year, is our fast break is just going to be out of this world, and Ivey can push the ball really well and dish the ball really well, but he pushes the ball, dishes it to Ausar on the break, and Ausar hammers it, dunks it. So we're going to see a lot of that. Ausar can just run. He is just a blur down the court. So is Ivey. Um, then Cade, with that added muscle that he has, he posts up, and we're going to see more of that. We saw a little bit last year, but we're going to see. I'm real confident a lot this year. Whenever Cade has a mismatch, which they're going to have to, if we have this lineup out on the court, that with Cade, Duren, Ivey, Ausar, Stu, the teams are going to have Cade's going to have mismatches, and so they put him down on the block, and he posted up, and he just worked his magic and shot a left-handed jump hook, and scored. Next time down the court, Cade throws it to Duren for a dunk. Then the following possession, Cade. So they show highlights. This is highlights, so you don't get to see every possession on these videos, but you get to see the highlights. So almost every time you see somebody shoot, they make it. So we don't really get to see how many times we miss it. Although they did show sometimes where Cade got stripped, his handle seemed a little bit loose, but I'm not worried about it. But they stole it from him a couple times and got layups. But anyway, so Cade posts up again, and this time they double, and then Cade kicks it out for a deep three to Ivey, and Ivey just knocks it down. So we win that. That's the game-winning shot. We win 7-4 that game. So then the next game, Cade comes down, throws it to Stu, nice and smooth and in rhythm. Stu knocks down a three, and we all know that's going to be what's got to happen for Stu if he's going to make a difference for our team. Is he's got to knock down those threes, but it looked smooth, and we're just going to stay optimistic that he can do that. So another times Cade gets a steal, and this was a really cool play. He comes down, wrap around behind the back, bounce pass to Ivey, cut into the basket for a lay-in. So that was cool. Then Ivey whips it to Stu for another three. So there's Stu knocks down 2 threes in a row. Then Ivey misses his shot, gets the offensive rebound, and just takes it into some guy's body and makes a tough drive. So then we lost this game, but Cade, just before that, the last point, Cade made a tough fadeaway jumper. And like I said, he can work his way into the paint, bump into the guy, take some contact, and then fade away, and he's really good at making that. So then the last game that they showed on the video was Cade lobs to Duren for another dunk. Cade drives the basket again and scores, and I think he's going to draw a lot more fouls this year, and I think that's going to make a big difference. Stu drives it to the hole and for a two, and he showed a little bit of flashes of that last year at the end of the year. Cade gets a steal and whips it up to Ivey, and Ivey tomahawks. I mean, he cocks it way back and just hammers it. So then we're going to see this. You don't see it as much where a guy's guarding the dribbler and they think they can shoot the jumper because it's the same jumper that they're open for all the time. But this time Ausar blocks it and takes off down the court, whips it to Ivey for a two. So that defense is going to be really translate, and we're really going to get to see it. So then Duren is not a normal big guy. There's nothing normal about him. He's strong, and physical, but he is skilled, and he anticipates well. We need him to anticipate better on blocking shots. That still is something that we need from him. He's a freak athlete. He can really get up, but I don't think he blocked one shot in this run. Again, these games are, for all these great highlights, these games are only games to 7 by 1. And all these threes, they only count for 1 point. But Duren can jump in the passing lane. He sees things. He is a very, very bright player. He's smart. He understands the game really well. Cade has the ball coming down the court, being shifty, no look, bounce pass to a cutting Duren for a dunk. And so, we got Duren's going to cut, Ivey's going to cut, and Ausar's going to cut. Cutting is an underrated skill in basketball, and I think we got willing passers and guys that can make passes, and we have cutters. And so even I think that diminishes when you got a guy that can't shoot the three as well, but if they're a great cutter, then the gravity of the defense has to stay with them. They can't just ignore them like if they were just standing out in the corner the whole time. Um, so off the drive, Ausar has the ball. He's dribbling down the court, and then Duren makes a cut to the basket, and Ausar throws a sweet bounce pass to him for a dunk. Cade brings the ball down in transition, and I think we're going to be a great transition team this year. And Cade takes it to the rim and scores in transition. And then to win the game, Cade hits a tough step back, pull up for the game winner, and then he knocks down the free throw. So I'm excited. I think this was the first day of the run, and so I don't know. These happened like a week or two ago, where these games were played, but then Rico Hines I think they have control of the video, and they just decide when they're going to release it. So I'm excited that we could possibly get more of these games. It just makes makes you so excited for the season. And after this Rico Hines stuff is done, we won't get to see anything or hear much. It's probably until October. But this just really was so exciting to see our five young guys. And I talked about our core four. It still remains to be seen. Stewart is the weaker of the five players, but he still has some promise defensively. He moves his feet. He can switch out on guys really well. But like I said earlier, that his secret thing, the thing that's going to make him valuable or not valuable, is how he shoots the three. And so, but I think our young core is electric. I think the pieces fit. Those guys, the pieces fit. And some of these other teams have a good young core, but like Orlando, their two best players are Banchero and Franz, and they're both guys that can't shoot very well from outside, and they're pretty big, but they're a little bit redundant, which is a good if you're going to have two players that have the same skill set, but they don't have other guys that have the skill sets that we do. Like again, and I think that our athleticism is going to translate to good defense, which, again, younger players take time to develop. But again, I think that we have the coaching staff in place this year that's really going to elevate our players and coach our players up till we have a lot better defense. But again, our secret sauce is Cade Cunningham, and he is going to have the ball in his hands. So it's much like a quarterback in football. So you can have a bunch of great players, like again Houston has a whole lot of really good young players, but in football, what's the most important position? It's the quarterback, and we have our quarterback, and he is Cade Cunningham, and we have, I think he is going to be elite. And I think that he is going to, again, he is unselfish, and he assisted, like I said, on like 15 different plays. And just those little 7-point games that I just shared with you, he had like at least he assisted on like 15 plays. So I think he is going to make a huge difference. I still think with you put this crew out there, Ausar is going to fit. Again, I just want him to play a minimum of 25 minutes a game, and that might mean, like I said, it's going to be hard to play him 25 minutes and play Bogey 30 minutes, but that's Monty Williams' problem, and I know whether he gets traded or not, we'll have to wait and see. So anyway, I'm gonna get off now, but I just want you to just be the reason that someone feels welcome, seen, heard, valued, and loved and supported. And if you're watching this podcast on YouTube, please subscribe, tell a friend, press the thumbs up button on there. If you're watching on Spotify, leave a 5-star review if you can, and just whatever you do, share this. Again, share this with a friend that loves the Pistons, and it would mean a lot to me. I appreciate every one of you that watch, and go Pistons.